What if a simple dare led you into the heart of an ancient legend? When a group of teenagers seeks thrills in a cornfield, they find themselves facing something far more sinister than they ever imagined. As the night deepens, the line between myth and reality blurs, revealing a chilling truth that no one is prepared for. Hello, I'm Erudai and welcome to Moonskull. If you're looking for tales of horror, the paranormal, sci-fi, and the unexplained, then you are in the right place. I'll tell you 4,000 wonderful fear addicts as well as the 30% of closet horror buffs who have still not subscribed the story I was just talking about. But first, let me show you how you can show us your support. If you enjoy our spine-tingling tales and want to keep the nightmares coming, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. You can also support us by using the donation link on the screen, which can be found in the description of the video. Your support helps us keep bringing these wild stories from the unknown. Now, let's dive into Jason's chilling experience. Jason was a farm kid growing up on the sprawling Murphy farm. His father, known to everyone as Father Murphy, had purchased the property, a vast expanse of 120 acres featuring 2 cow barns, a large chicken shed, an orchard, and several fish ponds. Business was good, and with the profits from their seasonal pumpkin patches, Jason's father decided to send him to a private school, hoping for a brighter future beyond farming. But the transition wasn't easy. Jason was far from the typical private school student. His classmates could sense the country life clinging to him like the smell of hay on his boots, and they made no effort to hide their disdain. He was often bullied, mocked with names like Jethro, and felt isolated from his peers. One day, while sitting in the schoolyard, Jason was approached by a group of students, 5 in total. It was strange. No one had really ever come up to him like that before. "Hey, you live on the Murphy farm, right?" one of them asked. Jason looked up, unsure if he had heard correctly. He cautiously replied that he did, and Derek, the ringleader of the group, grinned and said, "We were wondering if we could go see it. We're really interested in farming, aren't we, guys?" He nudged his friends, who were all smiling, what Jason thought was maybe perhaps a little too eagerly. Jason squinted at them, his suspicion bubbling up inside, and said, "Since when?" Derek's smile faltered slightly, then it returned, and he said, Okay. We really just need someone to say it's okay for us to be there at dusk. We want to do the Cornman challenge." The Cornman. Jason had heard of this legend, which had recently gone viral among the kids. According to the tales, if you stood in a cornfield at dusk and chanted the right words, the Cornman would appear, and if you didn't run away, you could make a wish. But it was just a silly myth, right? Even so, Jason felt opportunity brewing. I don't know, he mused, putting on a fake accent. "I'd have to run the tractor when you're done so there wouldn't be any footprints in the corn, and the tractor gas is a little expensive." He continued in this fashion, feigning contemplation, and finally said, "I couldn't run it for anything less than $15 a head." They didn't hesitate, pulling out their phones to send him the money as fast as they could. Feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation, he agreed to meet them at the East Field at 5:30 that evening. When the sun began to set, Jason was already waiting at the edge of the field, surprised that they had actually shown up. As they ventured deeper into the corn, he led them to a spot marked by a large rock, a place where nothing ever grew. "This is perfect," they exclaimed, setting up their phones and getting ready for the challenge. "Okay," Derek instructed, "let's all join hands and get started." With a rhythm that echoed through the field, they began their chant. "Cornman, Cornman, come to me if you can. Cornman, Cornman, I can stand as the cornstalks can." As they stood motionless, Jason settled onto his rock, observing the group with a mix of amusement and apprehension. But soon, an unsettling silence enveloped the field, and the air thickened with tension. Suddenly, a rustling echoed through the corn, and Jason's heart raced. The Cornman was supposed to be a joke, but as he broke through the stalks, it was clear that this was no prank. Towering at near 7 feet tall, the creature was a terrifying mass of burlap, chains, and an axe in one hand. Its face was grotesque, a nightmarish idol with eyes that burned like coals. "It's the Cornman!" Derek yelled, breaking the spell of stillness as he stumbled back in fear. Jason watched, frozen as the Cornman charged, its laughter rumbling like thunder. The kids screamed and scattered, their bravado evaporating in an instant. Then, laughter bubbled up inside Jason, a mixture of disbelief and exhilaration. He had known it was all an act, and now it was a show far beyond what he could have imagined. "Great job, Travis," he shouted as the creature closed in, pulling the burlap sack off of his face. He had let his friend Travis in on what his plan was earlier in the day when the kids had paid him the money. So they set up this whole routine, this whole prank, and a little bit of a enterprise, if you will. They were both very amused by their efforts and how the kids had scattered, and talked about how they might be able to keep this going if the TikTok trend continued to be a thing. After the first encounter, word spread. It wasn't long before another group approached Jason, eager to take part in the legend of the Cornman. This time, it was a mix of 4 burly football players and Marjorie Stokes, a quiet girl from his school. Marjorie was not someone Jason would have expected to fall for the Cornman nonsense, but there she was, excited to join the challenge. As they ventured into the corn again, Jason lined them up, recording on his phone. The ritual commenced once more, and as they chanted, a thick silence fell over the field. But this time, something felt different. The crickets were silent, and Jason recalled his father's warning. When the birds and the bugs go quiet, it usually means something big is around. Something big, and something bad. Suddenly, the rustling began again, and Jason braced himself, and from the depths of the corn, a figure emerged. But Jason knew immediately that something was wrong. This was not the prank he had set up. It was the Cornman again, but this time, it was more horrifying than ever. The Cornman emerged and immediately struck down one of the burly football players, leaving him in a pile of blood crumpled on the ground. The other football players scattered at the sight of this, but Marjorie stood her ground. The figure of the Cornman loomed over her, eyed her, and then it began to speak. It said, "You have proven thyself worthy of my boon, child. What do you ask of the Cornman?" With tears streaming down her face, Marjorie begged, "Please, my mother has cancer. Cure her, I beg you. She's all I have in this world. Please take her cancer from her and let her live." The Cornman nodded slowly, and then disappeared back into the field. The next day, stories started circulating about the missing football player and a potential murder in the cornfield. Unfortunately, Jason's phone didn't capture the creature on film, and so he was afraid to come forward with the evidence he had. The official story ended up being that it was just a prank gone wrong that ended in a tragic loss of life. But as Jason and his friends sat at a table discussing the news of the day, Marjorie joined them. She sat down next to him and she leaned in with gratitude in her eyes. She whispered, "Thank you." Jason seemed confused, wondering what she was talking about, so he asked her for what. And she said, "My mom got the call today. They have to run a bunch of new tests, but it seems like the cancer's gone. Just gone." In that moment, a chill ran down Jason's spine. The Cornman had granted her wish, but at what cost? And there you have it, folks, a chilling tale of a simple dare that spiraled into a terrifying encounter with the unknown. What do you think happened in that cornfield? Was the Cornman merely a figment of imagination, or did he truly possess the power to grant wishes at a dreadful cost? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you want more of this wild paranormal real-life madness, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe, because we've got plenty more where this came from. I'm Arudai, and until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, sometimes the scariest things are the ones we can't explain.